Now that we have our apron on, if you're wondering, it's from Anthropology. I love it. And today we're making a cake, and I asked you guys on Instagram if you wanted to see a video of me like baking and chit-chatting, and you guys said yes, so here I am. Today we are going to be making my dad's birthday cake. So I basically just kind of asked him what he wanted. He said chocolate cake, and I was like, all right, but I'm gonna go a step further. So I'm going to be probably splitting this into two parts because I tend to do my baking that way, especially if I'm doing a layered cake. I'll do like the layers one day and then I'll ice it the next day. That way it just divides up the work. But I'm going to be starting with the thing that I'm going to put on the outside. So my idea for this cake is kind of like a chocolate chip cookie birthday cake. So I'm going to do a regular layered chocolate cake with chocolate icing. The top is going to have confetti sprinkles because no birthday is complete without sprinkles. And then around the outside, I'm actually going to, hopefully this turns out, but I'm going to be doing little mini chocolate chip cookies around the outside. So hopefully that turns out. I'm going to start off by baking the chocolate chip cookies right now. And that's where we're at, friends. One of my biggest things with baking is I always forget to leave things out, and I'm very impatient. So when things are at like not at room temperature, it's not good. Baking doesn't turn out as good, so follow your instructions. So I'm going to be adding 1 cup of softened butter. This is real soft, so 2 of these sticks. This is nice. They're just so evenly divided. Also, this recipe is the least keto, so just FYI. I personally love baking so much that I volunteer myself usually to make like the birthday cake or whatever else it is, because I just like it so much, and keto baking kind of isn't as fun. I just feel that everywhere. So yeah, just FYI, I'm still doing keto. I'm not doing it as strongly as I once was, just because it's so much harder in the summer and I want to enjoy treats like this. But yeah, so not keto, FYI. Okay, we're going to cream those together. We got 1 cup of packed brown sugar, 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Next, I'm adding in 3 cups of flour. I'm gonna do one at a time just so it mixes better. Cookie dough. And the last step is to add in the chocolate chips, and normally I would just use regular chocolate chips, but since I'm making really mini cookies, I decided to go with mini chocolate chips. So I'm gonna add in about 2 cups of those. Honestly, the best part, it looks so satisfying. Okay, so baking update, I stopped filming when I was placing the chocolate chip cookie dough onto the pan. I have since baked all of it. It made so many cookies, by the way. So this first batch that came out were a little bit too big. As you can see, they're quite large, and I wanted them a lot smaller. So each round that I did, I kind of just made them a little bit smaller each time, and it kind of felt like I was barely putting any dough. And these ones turned out pretty good. Some of them are a little bit bigger, but yeah, that's pretty much it. This is full of cookies, and I was left with like extra cookie dough. So that, I should have like split the recipe in half or something, because that's a lot of little cookies. But that is done. I've actually moved ahead and made 2 of the chocolate cakes already. I made the batter for it, but like I said, I like to do this in parts, so you'll see me decorating and everything tomorrow. But I wanted to go ahead and make the chocolate cake. And for those of you wondering what chocolate cake I'm baking, I am using the Sweet Bake Shop cookbook today, and we are making the ultimate chocolate cake. Tess, I do follow her on Instagram, and I have followed her since she had her shop in Vancouver. She is from Vancouver, and so I will have her cookbook linked down below. It's very dreamy, very cute, and I made her like regular vanilla cake a couple weekends ago, and it was really good. So we're trying out the chocolate cake this time. It had a few extra ingredients like melted chocolate, and sour cream, which was a little unusual, but it was just a few extra steps. It really wasn't that bad. And yeah, I've already made 2 of the cakes. Here's a quick look at the cookbook. Again, I will have it linked down below. It is so stinking cute. There's so many like good recipes in here. I've made only the 2 so far, but I plan on making more because it all looks delicious. These are the 2 cakes that I've made. They're just cooling so I can reuse the pans because I only have these 2. So I need to take these out and then use the rest of the batter to make a 3rd layer, but that's where we're at. Hello and welcome to the next day. I don't have my apron on. So the first thing I'm going to do today is make the chocolate icing. I still need to level off my cakes, but I'm just going to make the icing, and since we're doing chocolate icing, I have to melt some chocolate chips. I'm following the same like recipe book. So for the chocolate icing, I'm currently just microwaving some chocolate chips with a little bit of cream to mix it up. The recipe calls for 2 cups of butter, which is this entire block, but I'm going to actually cut it in smaller pieces and then add it in. That way it just mixes better. And then I'm going to add in 4.5 cups of icing sugar or confectioner sugar, however you fancy. Halfway through adding the icing sugar, I'm using vanilla and adding 2 tablespoons. Nope, teaspoons. Always get those mixed up. It's a teaspoon. And we're adding 2 of those. For the cocoa powder, I'm going to be adding a 1/3 cup and then just adding in 2 tablespoons of the chocolate ganache. Okay. Things are getting serious now that I've put up my hair. The icing is good to go. I have just taken out the layers from the fridge. I'm going to level them. I mean, a couple of them don't really need that much taken off, but quite crumbly. So I'm going to just put the tops on this plate somewhere, somehow. I'm just gonna like slice around and then like slowly slice it off. I'm not good at all of this, by the way. This is all just because I like it. I've just watched a lot of like baking channels and stuff like that, so that's where I've learned from. Also, if you guys have seen the Netflix show Nailed It, it's great, and I like to think that I'm a little bit better than the contestants on that show. But if you haven't seen that and you actually like baking, you should definitely check that show out. Normally I do this right when the cakes come out, so I feel like this is kind of difficult. It's moving a lot. It's a mess, but there we go. Cake removed. So now we have our layers all cut, and I have my turntable ready as well as one of these cake things. When I first started doing like layered cakes, I totally did not use these. They're great, you kind of need to use them. So I'm gonna just put a little bit of icing on the bottom here just so this like sticks to it. Place that down and then do some here before we put the first layer down. Just a nice little adhesive. I will link all the things that I use down below if you're interested. This is just an offset spatula, I think they call it. This is really small though, they make bigger ones. Anyway, I think I'm going to start with the bottom layer here. I'm gonna use, since one of the layers is like a little bit bigger, I'll put that one in the middle just so it's symmetrical. And I'm going to place it up like that. Make sure she's center. And then I do tend to use like a cookie scoop or something, but today I'm just gonna use a regular spoon and scoop some icing onto the thing and then spread it around. You want to be kind of generous with this. I always end up doing too little of icing, so hopefully this time I can do better. Just do better, you know? If you guys have never made a layer cake or you have like never seen anyone make one, I'm basically just going to be adding icing, adding the cake on top, and this is all called the crumb coat. And as you can actually see in this particular cake, it is quite crummy, so I need to do this first layer and then stick it in the fridge and then do a second layer. And then a little trick people like to do is flip the last layer so then the flat part is on the top, and that just makes the cake really nice and even, if that makes sense. Hopefully that looks good. All right, we have the crumb coat on to the best of my ability, and I'm going to stick it into the fridge for about 30 minutes to set. That way the icing can get a little bit harder, and then we'll take it out, and then we'll add the rest of the icing, do the layer, add the sprinkles, and put the cookies on the side. 30 minutes is now up. I have just taken the cake out of the fridge and I'm going to do one more layer. I also grabbed my sprinkles. I love these ones, like the little dots, and these ones are kind of a more dark color. I do have, when I do my pantry organization type video, which is coming, I just like don't want to deal with that right now. But anyway, I have a sprinkle drawer, and I also have like the bigger ones. I'm gonna come up close so I can show you guys. These are the ones I'm going to be using on today's cake because I think that they are more my dad's style. And then these are the ones I used on my previous cake. They're a lot more like pastel and girly, but we're gonna use these ones. I know you guys can't see me, but I figured it would be way more interesting if I actually showed me decorating the cake. So I'm actually just going to fill up this piping bag for what I have left, because I think it'll be easier to stick the cookies on with a little dollop of icing versus just like hoping they stay. Okay, so for the sprinkles, I'm actually going to pour them into this little bowl. I just find it easier to scoop them out. I'm gonna pour kind of a lot. I'm just going to be kind of pressing them into the top. I want to cover the entire top with them. I think what I'm gonna do is just take a spoon and hope for the best here. Not super sure, but I do want them quite covered. Voila, we have the sprinkles all done. This is exactly what I wanted it to look like, so I'm pretty happy with it. I know there's a few sparse ones, and they're definitely not like super like secure, so I'm gonna just have to be really careful. I tried to press them down. Now I'm gonna do the chocolate chips. So I think I'm gonna just try and do like one layer and then two and then three. We'll start at the bottom. In the comments down below, let me know what your favorite cake flavor is, because I'm very curious. I'm not partial, I like all cakes, for the most part. I really haven't met a cake I didn't like, to be quite honest, so I'm curious what your guys' favorite flavor was. Last weekend, or the previous cake I did, it wasn't last weekend, but I did a bubblegum flavored icing for it, and it was bomb. Not everyone's favorite, but one of my favorites, that's for sure. So that was good. And I feel like you could totally just leave it and do one layer of cookies at the bottom, but I think because I have so many freaking cookies, I'm gonna just do the whole thing like I originally planned. But it could look nice if you just wanted to do it like this. Also too, I love when I do cakes that have stuff on the side, just because it covers up any imperfection, and you don't have to be perfect with your icing or apply too much or try your best to make it even. It's really nice when you can be a little bit more free. Now this cake is definitely not like the cutest one I've ever made. This one is more about, I guess, taste and the vibe of it. I've done a lot prettier cakes before, but my dad doesn't even really like sprinkles, yet I think that's the best part of this cake, so that's fine. Well, you guys, that completes the bake with me. So the cake is now done. It is ready to go to my dad's place or my parents' place tomorrow. That's when we're gonna be enjoying the cake. So I would normally cut it and show you guys, but since I'm not having it till tomorrow and it is his birthday cake, I'm not gonna be able to do that, but I'm sure it looks pretty good and it tastes pretty good too. So yeah, it turned out exactly how I envisioned. If you guys want to see more videos like this, if you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments down below. Please let me know if you liked it, because I would love to do more, and I think that we could do some really cute girly cakes as well. And yeah, this one was just a little bit more on the simple side, but hopefully you guys liked it, and maybe next time I'll do like a Q&A or something. But yeah, leave me your ideas down below, because this could be a fun new series that we start. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a great day.